Jimmy! Ricky! You! Smack Attack!
Roll another blunt. Yeah. Oh,
La da 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 da. La da da. La da da da. La da da da. La da da da. I was gonna clean my room until I got high. I was gonna get up and find the broom, but then I got high. La da, my room is still messed up, and I know why. Why, man? Because I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high.
Wow, nice.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Smack Attack. As a matter of fact, it's your Saturday night's main event edition of the Smack Attack, and we are live on Humming Mini Group's YouTube channel, and of course on the Twitch. I am your host, Jimmy T. He is my co-host, R to the B to the V. And Rick, we've got a special guest. Would you love to introduce him?
Well, Jimmy was gonna do the intro, but he can't, and you know why, because he's getting high. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, I will handle the honors, our very special guest, because we are here, a Smack Attack special, Saturday night's main event breakdown. So when you gotta go main event, you can't go any bigger time, big show time, than one of the gods of podcasting. One of the OGs. We love him. Welcome in here from the two-man power trip, Mr. John Paz, man. Welcome to the Smack Attack.
Thank you for having me.
HMG platform, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys having me. Great intro song there.
As long as I pop to you, John, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Hey, so for those that don't know, we'll give the Iggy. We'll do the unreal. Pull back the curtain here on the Smack Attack. For the last couple of weeks, so as Jimmy and I are doing the show here, I'm getting blown up here in real time over here from Paz. He's hitting me up, man. He's like, show's going great, but what's wrong with Jimmy? Where's he at, man? Where's his mind at? His eyes are bloodshot red. We know Jimmy is one of the hardest working dudes at HMG, but he can't be missing that much sleep. Why is his eyes that red, man?
Right.
So so actually this might be one of those undercover CIA operatives. He might be here from HR running some drug testing on you, Jimmy.
Yeah.
I'm worried now. He might be actually that guy from HR. But please, pause. I'm innocent, all right? Well, not totally innocent. You might be onto something. But not on the show. Not on the show. Not on the show. But I will say this. My camera tends to make me look worse than what it is because for whatever reason I look washed out. I look whiter than usual when I'm actually I've got a tan considering it's summer over here. But yeah, maybe that's why too. But then again, I am pretty zoomed in right now,
adds 10 pounds of weed. Yeah, that's
and the red eyes. It's the red eyes.
Yeah, the red eye and the 10 pounds of weed.
I'm embarrassed now, guys. Come on now.
Fuck the NWA World Championship, the 10 pounds of gold. We got 10 pounds of weed over here. Mr. Jimmy T. Busting chops with kangaroos. That's what he does. But John Paz, before we jump in to some pro wrestling conversation, brother, hey, what have you been up to here for 2026? Again, one of the most popular must-see podcasts in the world of professional wrestling, the two-man power trip. Before you jump into what you've been doing, have you ever thought about changing that name since it's just you now?
Well, it's me and whoever the guest is. So there is two men. It's always the two men. Yes. And you know who actually smartened me up to that because I wasn't smart enough to realize it on my own. Chris Jericho actually said that to me. He said, I'm the power trip today because whoever's your guest is the other member. So it's like, that is technically true. Even though there are some people obviously work behind the scenes and sometimes they can fill in, but that is true. But 11-year anniversary just came up this month. So I had Perry Saturn on. So got a lot of good stuff. A lot of kind of super rare guests too coming up on the show that I don't remember doing any pods before. So some good stuff coming up, definitely.
So you do a variety of shows. You're known for these great sit-down interviews, really deep diving in. And honestly, man, I know there are some good historians out there. Nobody better than you, brother. I mean, it's just the way that you studied this thing.
I praise.
time you put into that. Can you pull back curtain, let the Army hear? Would you seek out an interview like that? I mean, what is obviously you're such a fan of it too, but what kind of research, deep dive do you put in there to make sure the person feels welcome? It is comfortable opening up, just to open up all those faucets of their great career.
I do like to do a lot of research. I do obviously rely on my own mental acuity, if you will, like my memory of it, because I've been watching it basically since the mid '80s, and maybe a tick before that. But I try to use my memory, but I do a ton of research. I mean, either you're watching stuff, you're reading stuff, you just try to pick up something, tidbits here and there. You just have to do the research before you get the guys on. That's just to me a no brainer. But I have seen some stuff out there where they didn't really know who they're interviewing, and I'm like, damn, like that's kind of crazy. But it happens. But you got to do the research, and I do plenty of it. I actually love it. It's actually fun doing that type of stuff.
Right, that's what I enjoy with your conversations with the greats from the past. We so many times just see, well, I know you were in this area in the 80s, and they just let an open forum for, the individual start talking. Like, you are precise in the questions and the conversation. I think that really hits home to really open up the guests that you have to give us that great insight. I hope I'm not pulling anything back here, because I think we've talked about this on air, but a very cool project you got going on, writing a book about Bret Hart. Can you talk about that a little bit and some of the details and interactions you had?
Yeah, so it's going to be coming out via ECW Press. Right now, tentatively, it's called The Era of the Hitman. We're kind of working on a title. Sometimes when you deal with the publishers and different things, they kind of they want to maybe lean it their way. But right now, Era of the Hitman, it's basically 25 hours plus at least talking to Bret, going over Bret. It's not just the history of Bret, because he has his own book. This is much deeper. This is much more about the artistry of wrestling. This is much more about the matches. Basically, I went to him and was like, I think these are your best matches. These are this guy's best matches, and they were against you. And we kind of went over it, and he would break down the match with me. Like, I was like, hey, just watched you versus 1-2-3 Kid from Monday Night Raw. He goes, I'll watch it. Then, just from memory, I'll remember some stuff because I want to watch it again, and then we'll break it down and we'll get into it. So it's really deeper than just hey, I beat 1-2-3 Kid in an awesome match from 94 Raw. It's like he actually goes into like the whole background of the match, then what's going on in the match, the psychology of it, breaking down spots. It's so cool. It's so different. It hasn't really been done before. And I know he's had an awesome book with detail and stuff, but this is even more detailed than his books have been.
Yeah, that's pretty damn cool, isn't it, Jimmy? I'm just imagining that, man. 25 hours just sitting there, just bullshit recording with Hitman, taking those conversations and transcribing them into the written style.
Yeah,
truly surreal, awesome. Unbelievable. Yeah.
I've got Bret's first book, and that's a great read, for example. But now hearing that what you're doing, Paz, with Bret Hart, I mean, now I want a piece of this book. I mean, when do you think it will be released? I mean, is it
so? It's supposed to be later this year, but it might be beginning of next year as well. Just because it's like a huge undertaking here. It's a big project, but we're well into it though, for sure.
How did you get into it? It was just something you just came to your top of your head. How do you go about reaching out to somebody like Bret freaking Hart? What are the true icons that of the
yeah. Just from being around forever, I know a bunch of people that know him, and I basically came up with this idea, and I was like, I don't know if I should reach out to Bret, but I'll reach out to a friend of his, and the friend will say, that's a great idea, you should go for it. So basically I did that. They said, this is a good idea, I'm going to forward it to Bret. If he likes it, he'll message you back. He messaged me back, I like it, I want to hear more. So we had a nice little chat about it, and then he's like, let me see more of like what you consider the great matches and why you consider they're great and stuff like that. So we were able to break it down even further. It was actually like just unbelievable, kind of just one thing led to another. It was like a snowball going down the hill there. It was awesome.
Very nice. I'm looking forward to that, man. That's like a dream come true for all of us here in this podcast.
Sure.
A project like that is someone of that caliber. But outside of the interviews, all that, I mean, it seems like you're recording a podcast every day. Variety of things here. One of my favorite is the business of the business, where you guys go into the numbers. You really look at that other side of things outside of the creative and the bell to bell itself, man. So before we jump into kind of the happenings in the Blue Brand tonight, Saturday's main event, I did have some conversation I want to pick your brain on. I know Jimmy's been looking forward to it. And when we talk about that business of the business, how are you feeling right now about like the business strategies of TKO, WWE? Jimmy and I were talking yesterday. They've got some house shows lined up. They're in the big spectacle, big event business right now. Distribution, advertising, branding, and all that. Down in his neck of the woods, Australia, they're coming in for house shows, nosebleeds, $300. When you guys on your Business of the Business show look at what's happening there, I'll let you correct me there, Jimmy, in a minute. But is this a business model you see sustainable as they kind of turn away from the traditional values of what we've known wrestling as? Jimmy, go ahead with that ticket information.
Well, I was going to say that was the case with WWE when they first came down for Crown Jewel late October, obviously, or mid-October last year. But AEW is doing a house show in Brisbane, and they're charging suddenly, and they're not known to charge. AEW, right? Because they're due to be here in February. They're doing a taping in Sydney for the Grand Slam Australia event. I believe will be on Collision. But they're also doing a house show in Brisbane, and they're charging for this house show $300 for nosebleeds.
Whoa. Well, I guess that's something AEW seeing WWE is getting away with it.
Right, but to top it off, there's no promotion. And on top of that, for whatever reason, AEW have lost their TV rights deal over here as well when it was supposed to be long-term.
Save that. I want to ask Paz about that as well. Right. But Paz, back to when you guys talk about this business side, do you see a bubble bursting? Is there a ceiling? Where are we at from the TKO business plan?
I think, and I know they love the dynamic pricing and that excuse of like, oh, if they're going to pay for it, we could charge it. But I'm already seeing it even from going to the house show for the holiday tour. You're already seeing
the Sun just went.
Yeah, but you're seeing all of those shows the prior year were in bigger venues. Now they're in smaller venues, and they did a bunch more of them. So that's almost like the going back to the old model because you're not as hot as you once were. Yes, they're hot in the big shows. SummerSlam did the best ever. The John Cena retirement was like their best arena tour, but that's like a big show. Survivor Series did big. WrestleMania did big, but all the other shows in between, you're seeing a very much of a cool-off period. I don't think they're as hot. So I feel like the prices are starting to go down, but even they're running to smaller venues too. So you could tell they're not as hot as they once were. I think the hot period might be over. The bloom might be off the rose. I do not like, and I don't think any family likes the amount of money they charge, especially Madison Square Garden. It's like, holy crap, on arm and a leg for not great seats there. You know, it's just nuts.
So actually, you mentioned that you took your son. He's right in that wheelhouse where most of us were when we really started loving professional wrestling. He loves going with dad to a live event. Nothing beats that. You guys went to the house show in New Jersey. You know what you spent there. Did you happen to price compare that? What it would have been? Because I thought maybe you were at that Monday Night Raw in Madison Square Garden because you posted the pictures that day. Did you happen to look at what that price range was or the difference?
So from the house show to like the Raw, you're basically looking at $150 probably more per ticket. So, I mean, at least per person. So it's like at least $300 more for both of us if we were to go, let's say, like MSG versus the house show. So, I mean, it's significant. It's a lot.
Yeah, I've heard Billy Ray Valentine from The Hustle, and that does a special Wednesday night locker rooms for us here on the Hami Media Group. He lives in New York City, and he talked about to take even to a house show at Madison Square Garden, his family of four, it's like a minimum of $1,000.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah, it's nuts. Yes, and then the food there is crazy. The merch seems to be ticked up just a little bit. Like it's $40 here. It's like $45 at MSG. Like everything is ticked up a bit there. It is nuts. And then for us, we drive in. So the parking too. I mean, once you go to MSG, I mean, it adds up. There's no doubt.
All right, so we see, again, the blockbuster numbers, and really with attendance, they're working smaller venues, things like that. So that's just more of an inflation. I mean, you're just selling a lesser ticket at a much higher price. You're going to create that volume. There were some numbers out this past week internationally, Jimmy, about the Netflix release for their pay-per-views.
Yes, right.
I thought they were surprisingly low. Very low. I thought they were.
But did that include, say, the U.S. numbers?
No, it was just right. Netflix. It was international because all of our domestics are handled by other, distributors, platforms. But I mean,
I thought it was a lot. I thought it was really good.
Yeah,
I thought they were relatively low as in comparison to what we've seen for others. I mean, you're only getting 1.9 and 1.2 to 1.9 for WrestleMania around the world. See, maybe I was on the other side of that.
WrestleMania,
but you're not counting like Peacock or ESPN
I understand you don't have that
yeah.
domestic, but
Yeah.
globally, where you look where their attention is with all these international tours and how they're featuring them, and that's where they're getting these record gates. I thought there would be more viewership over there. Now, domestically, yeah, I mean, we are seeing a decline in the watch of weekly programming, and they are getting taken to the woodshed right now just because of lazy creative and lack of connection with their stars.
Yeah, but did you see? I know Ben was talking about this with Russo, but they were completely wrong. I don't know who wrote that article. They said 350 million views,
got
and
it wrong.
Russo was saying the math didn't add up. The math adds up perfectly if you word it correctly. The guy in the article, I don't know why he worded it so oddly.
After he said the views first, they called him out, and then if
Right, they did.
because Jeff Lane caught them, they went back and changed the headline.
Wow.
Okay. To viewed
hours, yes. But if you do the math, it does make sense because it's 340 divided by 52 weeks divided by how long the show is, so 2.5. So it's probably about you'd say each week it averages 2.6, 2.7 million on average, just because
it still seems a little few, but you are right, man. There is a major difference in that verbiage, that headline.
Yes.
The original headline read views, like that was
right, but that's so stupid to even say that. That doesn't.
Then they called him out. That's the Russo show. Then called him out on it, and then magically that headline changed. And what's weird, if they were using a WordPress doc or however they wrote it, it was Friday that wrote that thing. That usually updates the post date for the article. It didn't do that. It just kept the original post date, so it looked like that was the headline was always.
Yeah.
That was always there.
Interesting.
But, and those guys also dove into what qualifies as a view. And I believe, Jimmy, what they say, it was like 2.5 minutes equals like a view for them as well.
Right.
So, I mean, if that's the case, it takes me like 10 views to get through a show. I have to stop.
They're counting every time. They might be counting every time. I don't know.
Well, do you think that's a disappointing number, boys, in terms of domestically for Raws and SmackDowns, or actually just Raws? Because I think that's a decent number. And it depends how you look at things. Because WWE socially get huge numbers on social media, and obviously other people also watch it via different ways.
Yeah.
But is it really as doom and gloomy as we think it is?
Definitely not, because I think that number is fine just the way it is. But the way they're viewing content now, I feel like they love that short form content. So they're watching it on X or they're watching it on YouTube. I think they watch it other ways, but they watch it like highlight package kind of thing.
Right.
And I still think the number is decent, but obviously it's not as good as it once was, if you will. I don't know if as many people watch it as they used to, but it's still I think it's still pretty good.
They're going out there and selling this distribution as must-see live television, because that still exists in sports. And this argument that everyone has that we consume our content differently now because of social media, because of YouTube, that to me is an lazy excuse for the poor content that they are producing. We're looking across the board, just NBA for their big games, MLB for their big games. Spots, I know you're a sports guy. We all know the incredible, astronomical, unbelievable numbers being produced by the NFL. That was just these playoff games this past week.
That's crazy.
Insane.
Yeah, what, 45 mil between the Chicago and LA market for that big playoff game that went to overtime. And I know that NFL is the undeniable king of must-see live content, but somewhere in there, your WWE selling that, you have to equal that. So they come up as huge failures, that their product is only worth 2.5 minutes to 3.5 minutes of my YouTube time. And if those numbers were actually correct and not being fixed by bots, then they would focus more advertising targeting on those. And we don't see that. And they know they can get caught and called out by these advertisers and be taken to court and sued if they do.
I just don't think right now. Maybe they're just not as hot. Maybe during WrestleMania season it'll heat up a little bit. But I'm not just like doom and gloom about the numbers. I think they're fine, and obviously the advertising and everything else that they have pumped into it is obviously doing fine. The sponsors and everything else. So I'm not too like doom and gloom or negative about it as some people are. But but it's definitely not as hot or as good as it was
I don't
either.
think the sky is falling. But Jimmy and I have been talking about. We talk about keeping what our prime revenue sources again are advertising and distribution. Outside of our gate, they still rely heavily on those gates now, but our advertising and distribution, my distribution partners, I'm pissed off if I'm them. Jimmy and I have been talking about this for weeks. I'm sure you noticed this, Paz. By the way, did you know there's a big event next Saturday called the Royal Rumble? There's been hardly a peep about this thing.
Well, it's in KSA.
Zero hype.
It's over there in KSA, as they like to refer to it oddly now. Did you notice that, by the way? I'm calling it KSA. When the hell did that happen? I never noticed
they've
that before.
called it that for a while.
Oh, they have. I never noticed that.
Yeah.
I know it's Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I never saw because it said KSA. I'm like, what KSA?
I think they're leaning towards that, though. It's just usually just like Saudi, but I guess they're moving around the different places.
They're trying to clean their image up in every way, like literally.
Yeah, so we've talked about this as well. Maybe they didn't do the mentions of it because where it's at. They know it is a bot show. They're just finishing up the damn stadium that they're holding it in.
How risky is that, by the way? It's like, oh, by the way, we're going to start in January 1st. We're going to start building the stadium. The show is on the 31st. Like, how crazy is that? How the hell is that even safe?
That would have bothered me.
Yeah. What's worse? 100%. Not just the safety issue of it. What's worse, being the slave labor that has to build it, or the slave labor that has to sit and watch it?
I don't know. Those fans seem like they're pretty into it, unless they have to be into it. You know what I mean? But they seem like they love it.
Well, all right, Jimmy, I'll get your take on this one here before we get. But okay, they know it's a bot show. They might not want to tell the rest of the world, hey, we're doing business here with these guys that use, make mulch out of media and stuff. Yeah. But if I'm ESPN, I am furious. I am pissed. I just gave you bills to put your product on my platform. You better be promoting it out the ass. I saw today, Jimmy, UFC did an incredible job for their countdown just today for their debut on Paramount Plus. They've been promoting it like crazy. Yeah, even today, I was had MTV on for a while. They had a countdown clock in the Big Bang.
Really?
That hey, we're leading up. Every commercial had something cool that made it seem you want to be a part of this thing here tonight. None of that do you see. I actually last week, Jimmy, I saw more advertising on the ESPN NFL games for the Royal Rumble than I did in a month from WWE.
That's bizarre. That is really bizarre. I don't understand the motive behind that. I mean, we could all speculate and say, yeah, maybe because they're in Saudi. But is it really that? I mean, come on. I'm not sure. I think
Paz, if you're these platforms, Paz, right? You're pissed. I mean, we just gave you billions for these deals. Millions of bills, whatever the case might be for the different platforms. You better be promoting this shit.
It's almost like they had too much going on. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to do Saturday Night's Main Event. They got Raw and SmackDown. They're feeding this and then I don't know. I feel like, which is nuts, that the Rumble almost like came too quick and they like didn't promote it. I don't know. Just maybe too much going on for them, but kind of weird.
Could it be because they've already been paid out and somehow ESPN's even received something just to not to say shut up, but just to be cool with it? Because I feel like WWE already probably receiving this money. They probably felt like, what's the point of promoting it when no one's probably going to fly over? Even though I do think fans would go over. Believe me, fans will travel there. People do it. They would go
Wouldn't
there.
Wouldn't that be all the more reason to promote how you can watch at home from the safety of the shores of the United States, that he pushed the ESPN Plus app?
It's probably cheaper flying over there than flying to Vegas and spending the money in Vegas.
That's true too, because you'll be broke pretty much in Vegas. I mean, come on, let's be honest. I mean, but in Saudi Arabia, if it's a bought out show completely, then what's the point of even advertising it for people to even go over?
No, because you still have partners you have to meet.
With the viewers, obviously,
advertisers.
ESPN, of course,
You still want to get people excited to watch this event. They've done little to nothing to connect to this. It isn't just about getting your butt to Saudi.
you're
no one cares about that.
100%, you're right.
I think it might be a case of they think they're over and they're not. I mean, they should be kissing ESPN. This is
cocky, you think?
I don't know. Paz, I put this over as like one of the biggest deals the company's ever made with ESPN, not just because of the money value, just because they finally are rubbing elbows with that credit that they have so long earned for. You know, since the WrestleMania year, since Vince Jr. took over with it, they wanted to be seen on that level. You're finally with the mothership, the biggest, baddest in sports and entertainment, ESPN. I mean, they should be on their knees begging to be a part of everything ESPN is doing.
It is kind of weird they didn't really build for it, so to speak. Like they couldn't even get Roman Reigns to come in and be like, I'm declaring for the Royal Rumble, pretty much biggest guy. They just had a video package for him on SmackDown saying that he's in the Royal Rumble. So it's like, wow, you couldn't even get Roman? Can't you film him at his house? Can't you send a camera crew there or whatever? Like they couldn't even do that. I think Cody Rhodes was like the only one that was really like, I'm gonna be in the Royal Rumble. Like besides that, did anybody else really?
Everyone else has been in passing. Everyone else just kind of be like, hey, I'm going to do that too. It was Cody was the only one that came out, grabbed that mic and say, you know, that's another great thing. Ben and I were talking about this Monday about the possibilities for crossover promotion using somebody like a Tiffany Stratton as like a guest sideline reporter for, you know, a big game, NBA, football, whatever we just said. I know they had Nikki Bella at the national championship, which actually was freaking hilarious. She got roasted. Oh, if you saw that, Jimmy, by the Pat McAfee crew. Did you see it, Paz?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. So Jimmy's pretty like they're interviewing her. The McAfee crew does a little different. They're not in the booth. They're on the field. They're kind of like a watch along, just shooting the shit with the boys. He's got his whole crew there. And Nikki was like, well, I like football because, you know, in our sport, we know who wins and loses. And they just go like, oh. And like one of his boys, Cowboy in the back's like, it's still real to me. Damn it. It was just hilarious. Like, and they just like roasted her. But that's an idea, Paul, that would have been fun during one of those games, like run an advertisement that's like a promo clip of Roman announcing he's going to be in the Royal Rumble.
Simple, for sure.
Do it on an NFL game, you know, real quick at a quarter or at a break transition. And be like, by the way, we got this big event, ESPN Plus, the app, we can get all these. I think, again, it's because WWE thinks they're over and they're not, which kind of leads to the last thing I want to talk to you before we get into the happenings in the ring here. Jimmy and I have been talking about this last couple of days. I put out some posts in some different Facebook groups with just a simple question. WWE Unreal. Let me get your thoughts on it, Paz. And I want to know, who is this show for? Who are they writing this for? Who is the target audience? What are they hoping to accomplish it with it?
I honestly have no clue. I guess like the real inside, super marks, if you will, like, like the marks, they can't get enough content. They just want more and more. But I watched every episode, first season and this season. I feel like it's an easy watch. It's just really smooth to get through. But I feel like looking back, I knew that, like the Seth Rollins thing, I had a feeling there was some sort of storyline for Unreal. The R-Truth stuff, while I was going on, I was like, this has got to be something for Unreal. And then boom, they were all filming it for Unreal. So sometimes it ruins the actual moments of the actual shows, because in my head I'm thinking, all right, this is like the inside baseball, like they're working the marks here or whatever, they're working the workers, and then of course it'll be for Unreal. So I think it actually ruins part of the show, but I really don't know who it's for except for the fans that just need the content, can't get enough content, they just love the content. I know people think it's something for Triple H's ego. I don't know about that, but it could be.
That's why I'm saying, Dave, it's just because they think they're over. Jimmy, it's got an interesting point. I haven't really heard anyone say that it's for the super fan. Your thoughts on our talks over the last couple of days about it?
Well, yeah, Puz does have a point. I mean, but the question was, and like we just said, who is it for? Because none of us could figure it out. And I think what Puz said is probably the best answer, because who else would they be catering to? Really, when you think about it,
we've heard from the get-go, like, maybe this will help with a new audience. This if we put people like that love reality television, will this hook them? Which positive, had me wondering, like, if I go out and get people food and drinks for 2 hours of their time, I'll bring the laptop and just play 2 of these episodes. Like, what would they think about the show? Like, would it be enough for them to be like, I think I want to tune in and watch that on Mondays and Fridays, you know?
No, because they wouldn't watch the real wrestling then. Then they wouldn't watch Raw and
Exactly.
SmackDown. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, there's no way. Yeah.
I think
You can't just
in all the groups, no one has really put that out there that it is for the ultra smart that just can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
But I got through 2 episodes of season 1. I did get through season 2 with a lot of like background noise, just as I'm sitting here working and all that. But the things that I sat and paid attention to as a super smart made me just almost more turned off to the product, because like how lazy they are in their creative meetings. So like it looks fine in the edit cuts, but I realized that they're doing all this in 2 weeks instead of 6 months. They're not planning out. It's all rushed. Their conversations don't seem like they're authentic. I look at that creative room. I understand why they can't write for minorities, ethnic groups, for women, because they're not really present there. One of the other things stood out to me, and maybe they're trying to work me in this sense of telling me we just don't see it in Chelsea Green. Well, to me, it said, you know what? That Chelsea Green is one of my favorite things to watch. He's the reason that I tune in here. And if you're telling me in your meeting you don't see it, then I'm not going to watch.
Yeah. I think when they say that with Chelsea Green, I wonder if that's like to irk her. You know what I mean? Like to get her, like, I don't know, to break maybe. That was kind of confusing to me, because I was like, wow, she was kind of been like the quiet MVP that everyone thinks that they should push, or maybe that'll make the super fan want to cheer her and get her that push even more, like a Daniel Bryan type thing. We're like, oh, let's bury this guy. He's Daniel Wyatt. Let's bury him. Okay, now he's even more over. Okay, what the hell do we do? All right, have him beat Orton and then lose to Orton. All right, let's do it. Bury him even more. Let's have him get lose to Bray Wyatt, get knocked out early in the Rumble, and we'll be gone with him. Nope, ruins the entire Royal Rumble, and the guy just keeps getting over, like, screw it, we got to get this guy a title. Maybe that's what they're going for. I don't know.
Remember, because you just felt bad for poor Rey Mysterio during that Rumble, because he was the guy that had to come out at 30, and everybody wanted to go crazy for Daniel Bryan.
Why him? Wouldn't you put a heel in that spot? Like, why? Oh my God!
Or would they just reject it? I mean, not just the booze, but Ray's popularity could withstand it. We weren't going to completely just hate on Ray for taking that spot. But yeah, your heart just went out like, oh, poor Rey Mysterio. It's like, yeah. So I threw it out there because I'm lost on it. Because to me, I guess once we understand what the point of the show is, then we can truly evaluate how effective it is. So if it's just for people that love the content, then.
And I wonder, too, with Netflix, do they get any extra money from them? Because technically this is, 10 episodes of an hour piece. It's 10 hours of extra content. Are they getting any more money from Netflix from this?
No, I think just to meet obligations. And they're trying to produce more content, because at the end of the day, it's about that watch hour.
Plus that money. I mean, isn't it a deal where if they can back out of the deal at some point?
In 5 years, I think, instead of making it 10 years. Yeah, it's like a 5-year opt-out.
Maybe they're actually giving them more content just to keep Netflix happy for free. Just so they, so they can stay on board and not think about maybe going back on that money. But who knows? Because it's interesting. We should find out if they actually got paid or not. But for whatever reason, and I'm glad you guys brought it up, no one really talks about that.
Because it's a lot of extra content. I mean, they're filming a lot of extra stuff for that show on Reel.
No doubt.
Well, and a lot of them too. There was rumors on that first season. It wasn't even the WWE. They had NFL Films in there helping with it.
Right. Peyton Manning was a part of it. His crew.
On the ESPN, the outside the distribution here in the States, ESPN. Real quick side note here, and we'll get to the review stuff here and some of the headline news. But this is interesting. Jimmy had let me know ESPN has terminated before the end of the contract their AEW distribution in Australia.
Which is odd.
Do you know anything about the international business workings here with that? I mean, because we just kind of assume, hey, maybe there was something, one of the offices at ESPN domestic saying, hey, we don't want this international.
I wonder if it has something to do with WWE, though, because I find it interesting. Since the deal actually came into place, I noticed with AEW, like it used to be live on ESPN2 here, right? So Dynamite Live, Collision Live. But once the deal happened with WWE, I noticed it wasn't live. And it was getting pushed like back for whatever reason to the afternoons. They preferred NBA games, live NBA games over AEW every time. And I thought that's kind of strange.
that
But
makes
it's
sense.
love it. Right, I know
Well,
for sure.
To me, put it this way: anytime anybody says, "What does WB care?" They have the relationship with the ESPN, they would do that. Think the opposite. Yes, they would, and
Yeah.
they don't even care. Of course, they would do that. I feel like 100% WB had something to do with that because remember Herb Abrams UWF back in the early
Absolutely.
'90s. I mean, it was like not even competition. I mean, they had
Nah.
cool guys and stuff.
Old Herb.
Not even close to competition. Vince saw like Andre made an appearance. Boom, Andre's back in the WWF. Bruno, no, he's not allowed to make appearances anymore. Like anybody, like that would cross them.
Well,
MLW,
it was just
a
that
couple
big
years
deal.
ago. Remember
It was
MLW?
that big deal that Herb got
lawsuit a
that
couple years ago.
television distribution, which was so big.
Yes, but it was like Sports Channel or something. It wasn't like
That was an ESPN. He got the ESPN deal.
Oh, I thought it was.
He was
Sports
that
Channel
one.
here.
He got that first one there, and that's when it kind of opened the door for like AWA, and then when they were running those afternoon blocks.
Right, but with like Herb, right? He's not real competition. You know what I mean? Like MLW, even you wouldn't even consider them. They were trying to screw them with their Fox deal and stuff like that. And then obviously WWE lost that. They had to pay MLW like $20 million, so they would for sure.
Well, with the television though, you cut them off because if there's a bad wrestling product, like like terribly bad, that's what you got for your deal. It makes the whole business look bad for television when you're trying to go negotiate.
That's a question for Jimmy there. Does AEW air on any sort of app like Disney or HBO Max?
I was going to bring it up, and thank you, Arthur, for bringing it up. I was going to say AEW is now suddenly exclusively on the Disney app, and it always has been on Fight TV and Triller previously. Before any TV deal got done in Australia, you could always watch it live if you paid like $7 a month. For Fight TV, you get AEW with it live every week, all the shows. So, yeah, now for whatever reason, though, I don't understand why they moved it to the Disney app because you got ESPN on the Disney app as well.
Yeah.
So, for whatever reason, the AEW shows now have moved to the ESPN Disney app, which is kind of strange because it should be on major cable. In my opinion, it should have stayed on there if they want to get maximum viewers. But for whatever reason, I don't know what's going on there. And I still think WWE has something to do with it. Call me a conspiracy theorist. But they got them off mainstream television, put it that way, and now I've put them towards the apps. And I don't know how many people would be interested in watching AEW through the Disney app, in my opinion, because I've heard the numbers are very low here. So,
but WB would 100%, no matter if 5 people were watching, they would want them off of there to avoid any sort of competition. Yes, 100%.
Guaranteed.
I think AEW, All Elite Wrestling, and Disney go hand in hand. Some of my favorite childhood moments are Mickey Mouse just taking a spork and jabbing it into the head of Goofy. Classic magic moments from the Magic Kingdom. Great partnership there with them. Herb Abrams, one of the best documentary lines ever. He died doing what he loved, cocaine and hookers.
That is a great line.
Well, one of the best ever there. Guys, let's switch a little gears while we are here. This is the Smack Attack where we talk about WWE's Blue brand. Not going to run through the entire show because a lot of it kind of pertained into setup for tonight's big Saturday night's main event. We're going to talk about that big card for you again. So a lot of that was just a little precursor. Both of these shows, though, coming from Montreal, Canada, the home of Sami Zayn. And that was evident. But both nights, they were loving it. Sami eating it up there with his hometown crowd. Absolutely digging it into it. We'll do a few, though, of the news bits that came out of SmackDown. We'll touch on here. One of the big ones here is go through here. Let's talk about the tag team division over on SmackDown. Arguably one of the worst that's ever been in existence. But we have some new tag team champions. My Family Tree, they take possession again of the gold belts and still have the lantern. Jimmy, I know that you love My Family Tree. You have deep roots with them.
Oh, yeah.
You love picking their fruit. Did you start your Australian Day party early after they won those belts yesterday?
I was happy that they got him off those damn Wyatts, man. I'm sorry to say it. I love Bray Wyatt. I've said this a million times. But these guys, I'm sorry. I don't want to offend anyone. They don't have the talent to live up to what Bray was trying to do for me, including his brother. I just don't feel like it doesn't even fit WWE's motto of today of what they're trying to do with their presentation. I just think it just doesn't work anymore. So I'm happy that the MFTs did finally get the belts off them. And heck, where do you go now with these guys? Are we gonna have them feud now still over these championships?
I got an idea for you there, but I know you are not so hot on the Wyatt Six there. Pause. Your thoughts on the Wyatt Six as it jumped the shark? Is it time to kind of put that stable to bed and move on from it?
Yeah, I got to agree with Jimmy T on this one. It's long overdue. Without Bray anyway, it was very weak. I know it was kind of cool for a little bit when Uncle Howdy was doing the Bo Dallas and going back and forth in the videos, and it was cool editing, and they kind of made it cool. But we're so far past that now that thank God the MFTs won the tag titles and time to move on. I might be crazy on this, but I know it's my family tree. But I don't think MFT actually stands for that.
No, I know exactly what it stands for.
Yeah, me too. I was going to say, yeah, exactly. Yeah. MF and something. Yeah. So so I was like, my family tree, but I know that they said that, but I'm like, that's not what it means. But yeah, obviously family friendly. We got to be family friendly. But to me, I love Solo and I love Tama Tonga, so I don't mind this at all. But who the hell are they going to feud with? Because hopefully it's not the Wyatts. I'm kind of done with it.
Well, Q Potter asking where the Profits. Supposedly they are just off television, so to refresh them because that's how we do things in WWE. Right. You have to hide things. I can't miss something unless it's gone, I guess. Instead of creating something that's captivating and connects with them, we just hide them. We tuck them away for a little while. Let me ask you this, though, gentlemen. As we're heading into WrestleMania season, you want some high-profile matches. They're going to grab that attention. On one side, we've got My Family Tree, a spinoff of the Bloodline as the tag team champs. On the other, they got some tag team belts. How about we unify them bad boys at WrestleMania?
It needs to be done.
Yes.
ASAP.
I think that's the right story. Solo versus his brothers. Again, kind of bring that back full circle.
It writes itself, doesn't it?
Yeah. And there's no other real, teams out there, right? I mean, Tommaso Ciampa's gone, so there's no more DIY. It just feels like the tag team division is pretty weak, just as it is.
Probably
Machine
the worst
Guns,
ever.
where the hell are Machine Guns?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. We're on
They're
the
in
Machine
AAA
Guns
right now. Yeah, weird.
They've all run through this cycle. I mean, where it was just throw everybody at the screen, and then most of them are still trying to compete for the U.S. Open Challenge. That's where we got Fraxim and all that. Speaking of that thing. And we've been getting some good bell to bell, if that's what you're tuning in for. Sometimes, I'm more of storyline character. I forget people just like the movesets and rope work. They've been doing that with the U.S. Open Challenge. Plus, I've been critical the last couple of weeks with it, though. To make it work like the Cruiserweight division, it needed to go off earlier in the show, establish wrestling early. They've been burying it late in that 3-hour marathon. I was glad this week we saw a little Dragunov round 3 here with Carmelo Hayes, but it was the first match on the card, which I thought was refreshing here with it. Your thoughts on the U.S. Open Challenge, the mid card there for SmackDown?
It is, I don't know, lazy booking, I guess you could say a little bit. When you do, let's just do an open challenge for the U.S. title and then do the same thing with everybody that wins it, kind of comes off a little bit like lazy booking. But I like Mello. He's actually kind of surprisingly, he's gotten over as the babyface. The crowd's really starting to dig him. I like Dragunov. In ring, bell to bell, I think he's great. I like just the way he carries himself and presents himself, even backstage with those suits on. He looks good. I like Dragunov. I just don't know if he's connected as much with the crowd, but giving him those matches actually seems like that was almost like getting him over a little bit. And I do like that was the first real match of the evening. The crowd seemed to be pretty into it. I like how Miz got involved, so I do like it. My only thing is, though, and I know other people have spoken about this before, though, Mello wins the U.S. title. Shouldn't he be kind of looking up at bigger names Orton and Drew, who's the champion, and Cody? They always do it where whoever you win the U.S. title, then you always look down and feud with all these guys below you. Why don't you have the title and you go up? You know what I mean? I know this isn't old school days where we're this great U.S. champion would have the title and he maybe would challenge for the world title, or maybe he would fight somebody higher up in the card. It always feels like, okay, Mello is the U.S. champ. All right, who's below him? Who can he work with below him? It's instead of looking up like Priest or Sammy or something. It's weird.
With the open challenge because it's not a thrilling surprise. It's always
Johnny Gargano is here.
For the third time. If Wesco Brandon is still in the chat, he might let you have it there, Paz, for putting over Dragunov talent-wise. I know Brandon And I agree with Brados, man. He cannot sell for shit. Doesn't let heels get heat. Moves way too quick in there.
Yeah, he's got that strong style, if you will. He's like trying to be too tough, if you will. Yeah, he's a babyface. He should sell more. Yeah, I agree with
Jimmy's too tough. He's strong style. Jimmy, what you think about this match is we continue to watch the U.S. Open Challenge.
The match was great. And like what Paz said, I mean, Mello is starting to come into his own as a babyface, which I actually doubted him. I didn't think he had it in him to actually be a decent babyface, but he proved me wrong. He's actually doing all right. And I think there's a lot of money, pun intended, with Mello. I think you can do a lot with him just as long as they don't over push him, like, shoving it up into our faces all the time. But as far as Dragunov goes, he's starting to remind me, he's going to sound silly because really they're nothing alike, but in some ways they are. He's starting to remind me of Sheamus, like a modern day version of Sheamus in the way he wrestles. He loves being very snug and he expects a snug back. I mean, look at him. Yep. He's always got like a black eye or something, with him. And that's what his son has sort of remind me of. But what's the ceiling with Dragunov? You know what I'm saying? I just don't see him going past that upper mid-card level.
Well, if there is a ceiling, can that little guy touch it? That's the question, right? No. Can he jump up there? Can we get him a trampoline?
Yeah, but RBV also didn't like Gunther. Keep that in your back pocket, Jimmy T. He also didn't like Gunther.
I never said that. You have to go in the archives. I never said anything like that. But
totally threw him under the bus.
Hold on. I'm just trying to replay in my mind if I did say it. I don't recall saying anything like that, but here's my thing with Carmelo Hayes. But Paz, you're saying, as a U.S. champ looking upwards. Remember the cool days in the magazines when you get to after you go through all the cool articles at the end, maybe you skip to it, you went to the rankings.
Yeah.
Like that U.S. was always the number one contender, or you had the IC, whatever second tier was the number one contender, which always threw me off then. Like, why isn't this guy getting a match? If they're the number one contender, you rarely ever saw that. The first one I remember was Warrior.
Yeah. You're right. And that's
they did run that angle where Rick Rude said he left WWF because he was always the number one contender when he had the IC, but Hogan was dodging him. So
right.
He said I'm leaving. Right. So he said he was leaving.
I just want to quickly point out, because Paz, you actually brought up a great point. Why is he always looking down and not looking up? I mean, if you're the US champion or the IC champion for that matter, like you mentioned Warrior, for example, right? If you were like the IC champion or the United States champion back in WCW days, NWA, you're that number two guy, you were that workhorse guy, and you did possibly get it. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you were the US champion, you were number one contender to the World Heavyweight Championship at one point back in the day in WCW. So
technically, yeah.
Right. So why aren't they doing something like that? That will elevate the belts completely.
Because wouldn't you, like, let's say you're Carmelo, it's like, man, like Drew McIntyre, you're on my list. Like I'm looking, and then it's like, no, you're wrestling Nathan Frazier next week. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, what the hell is going on here?
The guys that can't get it right in tag wrestling are supposed to be challenged this for. And I told you, Brandon was going to let you have it.
And RBV, I don't know if you saw Unreal. Unreal kind of breaks this down too, where you could see them creatively, they're doing exactly what we were just saying not to do. Like Road Dogg was like, well, they could feud with it. And he's like, they're looking at their list and they're naming all the names below. Like they said, Chelsea Green, then they mentioned all the people below. So I was like, man, even creatively, like they're literally thinking the opposite way they should be thinking.
That's bizarre to me.
Yeah.
Totally bizarre.
Absolutely. Also, we've got some other developments we saw play out on SmackDown. It looks like she's got her intentions. We don't have a match set up between them, but for the Women's Rumble, Jordynne Grace has announced that she is going to be entering that match. Not just enter it. She intends to win it, and she's going to be coming after Jade Cargill. So we get the interaction there on SmackDown with
Did you notice something
Jade.
About that, RBV? Sorry to catch up. Did you notice something about that? When Jordynne Grace on SmackDown after Jade Cargill beat Chelsea Green? Jade basically says, she goes, who are you? Who are you? To Jordynne Grace. And people in the crowd were like, yeah, who are you? Like they were like agreeing with Jade. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, they probably don't know who she is. You know what I mean? If they're not, super fans. Yeah. So Jade is kind of like being like, who the hell are you? And the fans are like, yeah, Jade, who the hell is she?
Well, it's funny because Jade just playing, the great heel there. Like, who are you again?
Exactly.
I met you a couple times, but that even it speaks to go back. We talked about this a week or two ago, Jimmy, here on Smack Attack. The debut when they introduced Jordan Grace in the Rumble and how they put her over was magnificent. You hit Pat Mack like,
Absolutely.
I got to be honest, I don't know much about her, but if this is TNA's champ, wow, they have got a superstar. And she looked amazing. Then they sign her over, goes through NXT, which again, we know we can look at the numbers. Only a small portion of the general WWE audience is watching that. But then they introduce her to SmackDown in stupid ass backstage, like she's on a college campus visit.
Yeah.
That's essentially, there wasn't anything about packages about her transforming her body, her workout regimen, how powerful she is. It was just her talking to Aldis in the back. And now she's supposed to be challenging for the title. I mean, no wonder there's no connect or no one cares.
No, and it's their fault. I mean, you know what she comes across right now? Like, what is she, an assistant to Aldis, pretty much?
No, she doesn't do anything now.
That's what I mean. She's always there around him, one way or the other. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're right. It's a waste. It's a waste of talent. I don't know if they expect everyone to know who she is, but like Paul said, they don't know who she is. So at least give us a vignette, give us a package, something.
Boba Femi's been getting a vignette every week. On Raw and SmackDown. Do the same thing for her. Yeah.
Which is even weird about that. I mean, it's almost seems ass backward to me, like they don't really know where or when to introduce him. Because you got that awesome match with Cody, and then it's like, oh, he's coming. Like, you've already showed him to us.
He's veer again. He's veering.
No. Hey, you know, speaking though of like Grace and Jade, you need more attractions for these Rumble things. You know what I would have loved to see, like a call back to the years past? They should have done like a pose down between her and Grace, like they did with Rude and Warrior.
And Warrior back in
instead of having to have a match, we still got a great attraction there and have them go out and do like a super pose down.
You know what they should have? You know what they should have done? Remember the old Royal Rumble report? Me and Gene Okerlund. And then they have 30 seconds of each person talking or whatever. And they're like, by the way, the IRS is in the Royal Rumble this year. Let's go to, like, if you're not going to really promote the show and pump it up like you should, at least do the Royal Rumble report, put it on Raw and SmackDown, and then put it online too. And like, then like Roman Reigns from his house in Pensacola, Florida. Roman, what do you guys, you know what I mean?
Here's the problem. Like back then, you'd even have like 15 seconds to get yourself over. IRS is in. Well, the 29 men are going to have to, their taxes are coming early. They're going to have to pay.
Yeah, I mean,
here's the problem though. As of tonight, I counted it there on the watch along when they were showing the coming up, Riyadh. There's only 8 men announced.
Yeah. Yep.
That would be the shortest Royal
like
Rumble
women,
control center. There's 12 women and 8 men announced.
That's disgraceful. That's bad. So
maybe
what
maybe it was 10 because they did have some silhouettes at the end one where they couldn't even fill out the last block of women.
Right. That was weird. Right next to Jordan Grace or Bliss and Charlotte, there was like an empty spot.
Hey, well, if Mr. Russo has dubbed him the king of pops and we're about surprise entrance, right? So we're going to have 22 people we have no idea who's coming into the Rumble.
I actually agree with you, Rick. I think no one's going to have any idea. I mean, do they get GCW or anything like that in or JCW, obviously through YouTube, but in Saudi Arabia? Would they know anything about the independent scene?
No way.
No. I was thinking this though, as I was watching on the WWE YouTube, they've got the nonstop cycle of Royal Rumbles.
Right.
And it was the one before WrestleMania 25 or something like that. And Hacksaw came out. And you get the big USA chants. I know he's in bad health tonight. He's still with us, right?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we can get him over there, I'd love to have Hacksaw come out to see if we can get the Saudis chanting USA.
He was actually in my neck of the woods on holiday with his wife, actually, recently.
Okay, all right. So we can travel internationally. That's even better. I don't care where you put him in. You can just have him come down, have the board and the flag. Just see if we can get their stadium to start chanting USA. Just for that visual. That is the pop, and then he can just eliminate himself. I don't want him taking any bumps, getting hurt. Give me some Hacksaw. Give me the USA chant from the Saudis. That's a money moment there.
Imagine it. Come on, tough guy. USA. He starts stomping the foot.
I love it. Real quick on the women's front here, and this will transition into Saturday night's main event. We did have a number 1 contenders for the women's tag team championship. It was a triple threat. You had Shar and Bliss in one corner. You had who else am I missing there?
Jackson Legend.
Jackson Legend the Glamorous Disasters. And then you had Sven Julia and Purse in Boots in the other one here. Kind of a steal here that they gave it to Julia. And I can't even think of her real name. Purse in Boots.
Kiana James.
Gimmicks.
How do you not know that? Oh my god!
Because I always call her Person Boots and Gimmicks. I don't ever use her real name.
I got to be honest. I love Julia and Kiana James. Maybe not for the wrestling, but I do love those two. I think that they're an easy watch for sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely an easy watch part.
Yeah. But that would say, just look at it. Just look at her.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the vet would say, right? Just look at it.
Well, Jimmy, all right. So you're a big fan. You've been trying to tell me why I should care about Julia for months now. You know, how great she was in all these past endeavors that she did. I just don't see it. There's no connection here in WWE. They've done her no favors creatively. Putting a belt on her has done nothing. Now, Jimmy, with this, though, this is the second week in a row, though. They've had some big happenings, but it is James that gets the spotlight over Julia.
Yeah, they don't know what they've got with Julia. Honestly, they really don't. They're trying, but they're not really trying hard enough. All they're doing is giving her wins, hoping that the fans will be like, yep, we're going to get behind it because she's a winner or whatever, right? But they're not telling us who she is at all. Again, how's the fan supposed to get behind someone if they don't know who they're following? You know what I mean? Like, they don't know. Like, what is she to these, to the casual fans? Is she an assassin? Is she a ninja? What is she? You know what I mean?
What is she, Paz? What am I missing here?
I don't know, but in Japan, apparently she was, a great technical wrestler and one of the best in the business. Yeah, I'm not like a huge women's wrestling fan just in general, but I've seen some stuff for her. And she did some like amazing stuff over there. And she looked like the crowd was into her. Looked like she was super over. But here, you can't just show up and be like, oh, she was big in Japan. The U.S. fans, for the most part, don't care about that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to really have an impact on them. And I don't think like winning the title, then losing the title, then being U.S. champ, like there's just no real creative push for her. I like that she's with Kiana James, but it's almost like they're trying to give her a manager because they don't know what to do with her. But then the manager gets the win in their big match. So it's kind of confusing. And I know Rick is not going to like this, but I think maybe Kiana James could be getting a push because she's friends with Charlotte Flair in real life. That could be it. I know Rick's going to say that that's not true, but it could be politics at play here.
It could. I'm with her. I would think it probably has to do with that incredible body and them gimmicks that she got. I mean, she's got that complete package. I'm not knocking her in any way. I still think there's not a connect there with it. Kind of goes. We were having a conversation on the watch along here with Brandon, Pierce, and Jimmy and I about the disconnect. It's easy to just say, oh, they don't know how to book Asian talents and all that. So I asked the guys, like, that's not always that easy because there's a cultural conflict. What works in strong style over there doesn't translate here at all. And it is kind of hard to figure out which of those characters and how do you relate that to a Western audience.
It is interesting, like Io Sky got, I know we're kind of jumping ahead, but on Saturday Night's Main Event, she got one of the biggest pops. Like in every move she did, she was getting ginormous pops. So like it might just take some time for Julia, but obviously it worked for Io Sky. I mean, she's super over. And Asuka, forget about it. Now Asuka, I mean, as a babyface or a heel, she's always one of the most over females. So it's kind of interesting. Maybe you just got to give her a little bit of time and some good direction, but also it seemed like Io had better storyline, you know what I mean? At least they gave her a little bit more.
They connected to the fans too, whereas Julia's not connecting with the fans. That's the problem. They're more personal if you get where I'm coming from.
Jimmy, let me ask you this because I know you're kind of into these genres a little bit more. Is it because Asuka and Io had more of an anime presentation? And the West can relate to that. I mean, we know
absolutely
Sailor Moon, Dragon. We know those things.
If you notice, Asuka does dress like different anime like, for example, I'm a big fan of a video game called Yakuza, right? And there's a main character in that game where she dressed up like that character exactly, totally. And I'm like, I saw what you did there. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think there's a big part of that does appeal. Plus, there is a lot more character to them. They seem way more seasoned. They know what they're doing. They know how to get themselves over. And that's, I think, the big difference with Julia was Julia maybe should, I don't know if she's scared to do that, but maybe go outside the box if you need to. Do something for yourself and try to get over. I know WWE hate when you do that, but if you're in the company trying to get yourself over, surely that could be a good thing, right?
It could be comfortability too. Maybe it's something on
That
her
too.
end too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because even Okada in AEW, I know I'm going off on a tangent, but everyone's like, "Oh, he's not as good in AEW." I was just watching his Wrestle Kingdom match against Tanahashi. I was like, "Is that the old Okada? He's awesome again!" Like, what the hell happened?
Right.
So, I don't know. Maybe it's like a comfortability thing with the Japanese. They're not so comfortable. Not sure. It's interesting because I feel like she's got everything. She's got obviously got the looks, obviously got the athletic ability. She can work, but the promos, so like that's going to be a little bit issue. That's why Kiana James is there. So I know it's weird. It's like a comfortability thing, maybe. I'm not sure.
It's got to be comfort for sure. Is she walking on eggshells? Does she feel like she's not confident enough? I don't know, but she's really got it in her. It's just how WWE is presenting it. It's just not working.
How to book the Far East talent. It's not a Chinese riddle. It's a Japanese riddle.
Yes.
To figure out there. Gentlemen, let's shift our gears. Let's look at tonight's big event. Again, back again, night 2 in Montreal. 4 big matches on this card here. Tonight, they are fighting for legacy. They're fighting about that passion, that heat. They're fighting for opportunity and championship gold. Again, 4 big matches. We're going to run down them. And what we had promised as a big-time match, I think a lot of people were looking forward to, didn't really pan out that way, but we come out swinging out of the gate. It is on. We're going to take it all over this arena, beat the living hell out of one of each other. Of course, this is the American Nightmare, the former champ, Cody Rhodes, trying to get back at it after losing that belt. Kind of no thanks to helping retaining that, losing it thanks to the werewolf Jacob Fatu doing what he do. Jimmy, this is the serious side of this. Jimmy, I know you love Jacob Fatu. You've been all high on this train going back to MLW days, man. We're seeing this seems to be like a new Jacob Fatu. Looked leaner, meaner, crisp on that mic. It looks like the werewolf chomping at the bit to get up to that main event scene.
Absolutely. This is a new and improved version of Jacob Fatu. Actually, I did say this is one of the best I've ever seen him look, to be honest. He looked ripped and shredded. I mean, he looked amazing. And as far as this match goes with Cody, or what match? It wasn't even a match. I don't know if I'm disappointed or not. I was, looking forward to the match, but at the same time, it makes sense to be a total schmoz and the way it was, considering, their feud. But even with Drew McIntyre, like when Drew came in and they're all over the ring, I mean, they went everywhere. They went up to the concession stands, through the crowd, up the stairs, down the stairs. How many security guards, and I'm using that term lightly, absolutely got
shout
annihilated.
out to Pierce in the chat. He'll get it.
Yeah, exactly. Got absolutely annihilated in this match, or whatever it is, schmoz. And I was a little confused with Drew McIntyre coming in and just throwing, Fatu off Cody. I was expecting him to go straight for Cody first, but I mean, it was just a schmoz. I mean, what else can you say? It was a fun little schmoz.
It was a fight, Jimmy. It was a fight.
It was a fight.
Whatever. I know you not disappointed, but you were a little taken that we didn't get the actual bell run on this one.
So I like the crowd was like nuts for it. So everything they did, they were nuts. First of all, it's like a not a dream match, so to speak, but for like modern day, you could be like, wow, Jacob Fatu is wrestling Cody. This is great. First time ever, even though technically it's not the first time ever. They had a dark match when Cody was champion about a year ago or so. So they not really technically the first time ever, but you could say that on TV because it was on TV for the first time ever. It's great, but you couldn't just ring the bell and then do all that stuff and then get the match thrown out. That irked me for some reason. I just thought that was a little odd that couldn't be the case. I was just like, wait, what? So now there's no match? Like, what the hell? Like, what? Why did we just say it was a match and then it got thrown out and it was 20 minutes or whatever it was for the fight? I don't know. I just thought that was, it was long too. So it's like, it was a match, so to speak. Right. So it's weird that they couldn't have just rang the bell, then did the thing with Charles Robinson and then get the ball rolling. Just strange, but it was like awesome just because the crowd is like fever pitch for those two.
I really like that you come in hot, you're violent, you're kicking things off. This is so different that we've seen from the regular formatting without having the bell to bell. You're protecting both of them here now, and you're setting the stage. You're creating a hunger for that audience to want to get this thing official, to see who can actually come out on top here. Just prolongs this thing. It protects both of them while feeding that hot Montreal audience there. No, they have to see with it, man. And this is what we got, Fatu, we know his bloodline Now, apparently, he's just straight blood. He's been in prison, all that. Cody should have been worried, especially brawling around that arena, that convict, Fatu, didn't have a shank hidden somewhere. Stab him in the back, man.
Here's the mistake that I think they made, though. Remember when Dom started getting over and they kept him as a heel?
Right.
And now he's even more over as a heel. Why did they turn Jacob face? At the time, I'm thinking, oh, he's too popular, blah, blah. If you keep him heel, he gets cheered. Then you come back and you make him even a bigger heel by kind of ignoring all that and just keeping him as a heel. This way, him versus Cody seems a little even deeper to me. I don't know. I just feel like Jacob would be better as a heel, because then you could have The Rock, if supposedly he's going to be a part of WrestleMania 43. The Rock could have been the guy steering Jacob the whole time. Like they can't. I don't know. They messed that up with him. He should never have been a babyface. He should still be a heel or a tweener. And them taking all these. And them taking all these shots about him in jail and stuff, that I love it, but it's also like, wait a second here, what are they like? Kind of like even Cody, you're like, yeah, you're so impulsive. We know that's why you were in jail. It's like, oh shit, like, you know what I mean? Like they keep mentioning that. So, but then that would work if he was a heel or a tweener, it would work. That was a baby face, and they keep mentioning it. So I don't like it.
On the live one, and Jimmy and I both agreed on this one. Is Pierce and Brandon were asking us? He's not a baby face. He's not a baby face.
Yeah, he's not.
That tweeter, that
he shouldn't be
here. Pierce hitting us for that $2.99. Jimmy chug something.
Thank you, Pierce, for that $2.99 super chat.
You got to chug a beer, Jimmy.
Oh no beef for me. Come on now.
You said
I can't. I'm too high.
Come on, too high. Right. Act like your camera messed up for a minute and take a hit. And then tell us you're not smoking weed on the side there. But yeah, I could see that. We want to lean in, just keep making him more vicious and vicious here. Are you guys surprised though at how this thing finally gets broken up with Drew putting himself in the middle?
Yeah, that's so weird to me. And I saw somebody wrote that which I keep reading the rumor that's Drew versus Cody versus Jacob Fatu in a 3-way for Mania. That doesn't feel like a WrestleMania main event match to me at all. Hopefully,
I'm tired of these triple threats.
Yeah, and hopefully that's not true. But Drew was also.
Jeez, Pierce, come on now.
But Drew's also feuding with Sammy, and he's part of the main event scene. So I was shocked to see him come out here. I thought that was a little odd. It's kind of cool. The champion has many feuds going on at once, but it's like, wow, that's kind of like overkill for Drew. He's going to come out at the end and come out here. I was shocked. I mean, it ended well with him taking both guys out, but it's like, man, what's going on here? Drew's getting. Hopefully, this isn't some sort of triple threat. And my God. Sammy, he better get nowhere near that winning.
Oh my God!
Better
not.
Let's talk. Hold that. Hold those. We'll tease that for the last, because I want to talk about some situations going out of this thing from the main event. I say the main event's up, but situations going forward. Our match 2, we kind of talked about women's tag division. We have new number 1 contenders we found on SmackDown, which Fanjolia in person boots. Question was going to be, who were the champions that they were going to be facing? We had coming into the match, the reigning champions, Rhea Ripley, Io, Sky doing their thing. They were facing the Judgment Day. This match was a little interesting to me. I thought maybe get some story played out here with the Judgment Day and how the match goes down. We do have some outside shenanigans. Raquel Rodriguez shows up. Big Mommy Cool does her thing to get interference to help her squad out, but that is answered by Stephanie Vacure. The champ comes out and runs off the monster heel there to reset the odds, even them up here. And then as Liv seems to have Io hit for the pin, she doesn't see the tag. Rhea comes in with the big boot, hits her big devastating finisher. The champs retain here. Poz, I'll start with you on this one. The expectations going in. Enjoy the match, maybe some fallout.
Literally no expectations going in. The crowd is super into it. It's actually a good match. And I thought predictable winners, but they have done such a good job. Who's ever laying out these matches, if it's Chris Parks, if you will, if it's Abyss, if it's Bobby Roode, Shane Helms, whoever's laying out these matches, they do a great job of like, oh wow, I definitely thought Ripley and Sky were going to win, and then I was like, oh, I guess Judgment Day is winning this, and then I went back, I'm like, okay, they are Ripley, and it was like a good tease, like good false finishes, smart finish. I like the way to get Raquel involved, but I did notice something. I don't know if you guys noticed this. There was a couple receipts involved in there. there. Io hit Liv pretty hard, then Liv like decked Io, then Rhea got hit a little bit too hard, so she then was a little extra stiff with Liv. I just was like, wow, this is getting a little bit more physical than I thought from these girls. And just another sidebar, man, how the good looking is Liv and Roxanne as a tag team. I mean, I love this team here. They're great. But to me, good match, and I actually was like, oh, of course they went over, but the roller coaster of it made me kind of like question it. So a great match, just as far as no expectations going in, kind of blew me away. Just as far as wow, like I thought Judgment Day actually had it won a few times, which usually doesn't happen.
I thought the finish was a little wonky and all that. Jimmy, your thoughts on this ladies throwdown?
Well, I know we were kind of shitting on it while we were watching it, but honestly, I did think it was actually possibly the match of the night. There was a lot of receipts, and I don't want to say botches, but I guess receipts is the best way. Did you see the Hurricane Rana that I'm pretty sure it was Liv did to what's it called?
It was
to Rhea.
Roxy put it on her.
Was it Roxy? Okay, I can't remember, but it was one of them. But anyway, Rhea landed right on top of her head, man. I mean, like spiked, which I thought, whoa, that was a bit, that was a bit hectic. But you're right, Paz. There was a lot of weird stuff going on in this match. I don't know if these four women like each other or they just
seem like
going hard, but there was a lot of things like that. So I'm glad you pointed that out.
I kind of don't mind when it's a little wonky or stuff like that because it makes it seem more realistic to me. Anyway, it makes the actual. Because sometimes I'll watch some of these matches and it's way too smooth. I'm like, man, they practiced that. You know what I mean? Like, so I like that. Even Roxanne. There was a move in there, like I think it was when she hit her on the head, like it didn't seem smooth, and then when she sold it and she fell out of the ring, I was like,
exactly. She fell right out of the ring.
Yeah, I was like, oh, she might have got her on that one. Like I know I like stuff like that because it makes it seem more authentic than like, oh man, that was rehearsed.
And she was gone for quite a while too before she got back into the match.
She laid out. Well, then you had the double team in there. You had the heels double teaming, which works there. But I 100% with Paz on that. When you've got everything too crisp, too forward team.
As big of a Rhea Ripley fan as I am, but I'm just curious.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of Rhea, of course. I mean, I'm known to shit on my own countrymen, apparently, but Rhea's not one of them.
He Rhea Ripley's that bong left and right. That's what he does, man. So he's all over hitting that.
I see what you did there.
I didn't really care for the finish on this thing. The heels getting look like they're getting it on the. The one that sells for the babyface team. It looks like they got her like some kind of hot tag instead of like they didn't see the blind tag with it to come in and get the boot real quick finish there. And I really do believe Liv taking that pin is the wrong move in this match.
That was the wrong move. I agree.
Where she can go, her star power.
That was shocking.
That was shocking. And it's just me, but did they tease a little turn with Liv and Roxanne towards the end with the hot tag? Like when Liv came in, because the way the camera angle was done, it was like almost trying to.
What a hot tag, but I mean, whatever a tag there, but
it was hot tag towards the end of the finish, and it wasn't a hot tag because she lost. She got pinned right after it, so I'll take that back.
It's rare that anyone in WWE gets a hot tag correct. So I mean, I know that wasn't the case. That's true. Believe me, I worked with Ted McNailer in a promotion for a year and a half, and he bitches about hot tags left and right. I know hot tags.
Interestingly enough, when we were at the house show a few weeks ago, the War Raiders were wrestling Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. Reed and Breaker were the baby faces. They did the hot tag with the crowd amped up, and Reed, Reed did the Robert Gibson. He's reaching for the tag, and Breaker got the hot tag, and the crowd went nuts and was barking and stuff. Wow. So I was like, wow, that's interesting. The guys you would think would be heels, or they're testing something out. They were the baby faces, and Breaker got the hot tag. And he ran the ropes 1,000 miles an hour, and everybody was going crazy. And then which eventually led to the spear and the win. But I was like, wow, that's kind of like
that. Probably was a lot of fun to see him spear one of them fat bastards.
Oh yeah.
That would have been awesome, actually.
I was like, wait, wow, a hot tag to a guy that's supposed to be a heel? What the hell's going on? So they were working babyface, basically, Reed and Breaker.
They're testing something for sure.
Yeah, how did that match start out? I mean, did they do like a switch in the middle of that? Did the Raiders come out like
No, the Raiders attacked them from behind kind of thing. Like so they were babyfaces from the beginning.
They were okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Some insight there, Jimmy. We're getting the inside scoop here, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Puz.
Beware with Breaker. He might be maybe not long for this heel thing.
Well, that also might be the last time that anyone has seen the War Raiders, because their last couple outings on television have not been all that great. And speaking of last time, we might see somebody. AJ Styles, he's on that farewell tour of his own. He said he isn't going to announce his last match. It's going to be when it is, and he's going to let us know after, and he's going to say goodbye. 1 week from tonight, he's going to be going to Saudi or SKA, right?
KSA.
Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Yeah, Kingdom Saudi Arabia.
Casa, going to go to the Casa. Go to KSA.
The Casa.
Might be his last match. He's taking on Gunther next week, but tonight he took on Shinsuke Nakamura. They set this match up last night on SmackDown. To me, a little disappointed to have such short notice on this thing. Such a great rivalry around the world in professional wrestling. And said on the watch along, this is something I would have liked to at least had a month, 2 weeks at least, a month of build on. Buy some footage from New Japan. They'll sell anything. They're hurting for money over there. Let us see the story that these guys have told over the years, the great matches from Wrestle Kingdom, the great feuds that they've had, even inside the 10 years that AJ has been in WWE with Nakamura. Let us relive that. Not just the, oh my God, he's wearing a mask since the first time he wore one when he took, I don't know. Give me more from this thing. Match itself, though, these guys do go out and deliver. They tell the story out there with Nakamura getting that knee hurt. AJ Styles picks up the win, momentum as he goes to face Gunther. Paz, your thoughts on the match here and the not so quite so John Cena style retirement tour of AJ Styles?
Little curveball. I was reading that his contract is actually up February something. So I was like, wait a second, Jesus Christ. I was like, so this could literally be he's done at the Rumble? What? Like, what the hell? So I don't know if that's a swerve or one of this like unreal storyline that they're putting it out there, but supposedly his contract is over in February. So this could literally be his last show. Like, so he really could lose to Gunther just like that. To me, I love AJ, one of my all-time favorites. Literally from seeing him from WCW when he was in that cruiserweight tag title tournament back in 01 with
Air Styles and Air Paris, Air
Raid. Yeah. So like from then I was like, I love this guy, and I love him at TNA. I loved him all the way through. He was awesome. He kind of made me fall in love with New Japan all over again. Besides being tape trader, God knows how many years ago and stuff like that. Like everyone says, oh, Bullet Club. Well, when he was in the Bullet Club, that's what set it off, and that's what really set off New Japan. And then you get the Rainmaker and stuff like that, which was really building with him and Tanahashi. But that different story for different day. But him and Nakamura, one of my favorites. Just absolutely love him. I wish they got more build up. But to me, it kind of goes to show you, yeah, AJ, you've been here for 10 years. You're not one of our guys. That's the feeling that I got. Because if it's their guy, you know what I mean? They give him all this build-up. They blah, blah, blah. We'll give you 1 day build-up, and then we'll put you in a match with one of your legendary opponents that you had a WrestleMania match with, for Christ's sake, and obviously all the stuff in New Japan. But it was like, it kind of showed me, it's like, you're not one of our guys. We love you, but you're not one of our guys. We're going to give you a little bit and not a lot. That's got the feeling I got. But this was my favorite match of the night. I loved it. I just loved their style, the way they go at it. The crowd was into it. I was really into this match. I love the finish. But AJ, obviously, rightfully so, goes over. And Nakamura, again, he's one of those guys where it's like, oh yeah, you have this awesome guy on the roster. You don't do anything with him for how long? Like he's over too. As soon as that music hits, he's over. It's like, man, crazy.
He was the one that prompted our conversation about the disconnect in booking Japanese talent. Where we all were in agreement. Like, man, there was a lot here with this guy that they have seemingly left on the table over the years. I know now that he is happy. Enjoys the schedule, likes his lifestyle, being able to surf and all that. But he's closer to the end as well.
Yeah.
Jimmy, do you? For the AJ tour, we just seen the year drawn out epic failure that was for John Cena's there, not his fault and all that. Do you like this approach? Similar maybe to the Ric Flair of, hey, do we get on? Do we see if he survives Gunther? Is it your next loss is your last loss? That's it. I mean, could someone implement that? They don't really have a heel to do that. We kind of talked about on the watch along. Does he lose this and then have to go work for another company? How do you see this falling out?
No, I don't understand why people think he'll go and jump to another company. That's not going to happen. I think he means it when he says he's done, he's done. But
I know, but for the story, I mean, for the purpose here, I mean, could he go back to TNA? Because on their debut, he said, I have unfinished.
For the Hall of Fame induction, absolutely, that will happen. But
he talked about going back there to challenge for a belt.
No, I didn't see it, man. I just don't see it for whatever
Or
reason.
tease that?
Maybe I'm wrong though, so we'll see. But what I do want to say is, isn't this the most AJ Styles thing to retire the way if he's going to retire at the Rumble? Think about it. He doesn't want any attention like the John Cena kind of spotlight. He's not that type of guy. I think he'd rather just, walk off into the sunset, not make a big hype, big deal about his retirement, and then, that's it.
Well, wouldn't that be crazy though? Like you do come on, hey, 2026 is my last year, and people are expecting like a long run a big WrestleMania moment, maybe something through the summer, and it's like, nope, didn't even make it to February.
Well, I heard someone say, I can't remember, it could have been Jago even, like when we were doing the New Japan review, the Wrestle Kingdom. I can't remember. Someone mentioned that apparently he could retire by like WrestleMania. It could have been Big Ray even actually.
It could have been.
And I'm like,
John that just told you his contract is up in February.
I know now, but before that, Ray was telling me that that he was gonna possibly finish up by Mania. So now that John said what he just said, and Ray's saying what he said, maybe there's a lot more truth to it, and I think he'll be done after Saudi Arabia. I hate the thought of it.
What would be the reaction, Paz? I mean, how big would that be if it's like, boom, that's it. AJ Styles is we're out of here, man.
And his last match would be in Saudi Arabia. Like that was to me.
I know.
I'd be totally shocked.
I know, you're right. You're right.
Shocking.
Do you think there's a possibility, Pause though?
How would Gunther lose? That's the other thing. He just beat John Cena. Gunther can't lose either, unless it's some sort of schmaz. But they don't really do that on pay-per-view. So weird.
Yeah, very weird.
Kind of booked themselves into a corner here.
They have, literally. Yeah. But it makes it intriguing.
High stakes. For sure, it's intriguing.
I have to say it does. I mean, obviously, outside of the Rumble match itself, I mean, it might be the reason to tune into this thing. Because we're not getting really any hype of across the board. So there is that interest there. Gentlemen, let's talk main event because we do have another match set for the Royal Rumble. We had a fatal four-way, Randy Orton, Trick Williams. Let's talk about it. Damian Priest and the hometown hero Sami Zayn doing battle here. Not a lot to talk about here in the match. Kind of basic. A lot of big pops, though, big entrances. What we expect here from all of these participants here. Sami Zayn gets the big win after cleaning up a mess. It's the hell of a kick in the corner on Damian Priest. Not a lot of flair around that finish. Boom, boom, boom. Square right in that middle. Why it's cleared out. 1, 2, 3. Hometown hero going on the side to take on Drew McIntyre for the championship. Jimmy, go to your first real quick on the match and then give me some fallout here, man. What do you think Sammy's odds are of going over to the desert and grabbing that championship?
I'm worried, man. I doubt it's going to happen. But as far as the match goes, and we'll get into that in a second, the match was, I don't know, man. I couldn't really get into it. Like, as we were doing the watch along, I knew, deep down, I'm sure most people knew it just had Sammy winning all over it. Not just because it was in Montreal, but the Saudi Arabia thing is a big deal. And it makes total sense for him to win that match, go off to Saudi, and now have a World WWE Championship match. But the thing is, could he win, guys? I mean, I doubt it, but I can also see it in Saudi Arabia, though, which is odd. And if he does win, is it just going to be like, say, I don't want to say a Kane run, if you remember when he first won the WWF Championship back in a King of the Ring, I think it was. If I remember back in 98 or 99, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I'm not saying it's going to be one of those runs, but don't be surprised if he does get the belt and then Drew wins it back pretty quick.
Is it safe bet, Paz, that Drew's going to WrestleMania as a champ, or could this be a transition?
I feel like it's got to be some sort of transition, although he's awesome, and I would have no problem with him as champ for a long time. But I feel like he's more of a transitional champ just by Triple H's like booking pattern. But maybe he's going to break the pattern, and maybe we'll see it. Sammy better not freaking win. And I know they keep pumping up that he's 0-11 against Drew.
The match itself, Paz, what'd you think? Just the match.
I liked it. The crowd was into it. Once the crowd's into it, I'm kind of into it. You know what I mean? Like it kind of enhances the match. It was perfectly fine. Trick, I like him. He's got potential. Not that great in the ring, to be honest.
I think it was interesting in this that he was the only heel, so he had a lot to carry in this, especially for being the new kid on the block.
Yeah, is that too much for someone like him? You think?
Well, he's got to go out there and learn, and he had a great learning opportunity here tonight. And going in, thought this is Damian Priest's spot to take the pin. That's why he's in this thing. Kind of protects the others that are there. Intercede with Randy. Hey, Randy, we talked about it watch on. Randy and Trick might be an interesting program for WrestleMania to groom the youngster, really show him those ropes, big high profile spot there on that undercard. But yeah, we've got
to do more with Randy.
He's going to challenge.
Like, wouldn't you want to do more with Randy for Mania though? Wouldn't you give him more of a high profile?
Where at? As we look at some things here, anything Randy does. I think you're at a point though where Randy can do whatever he wants, and he's just Randy. He's going to get those cheers. He is evolved beyond babyface or heel. He's just Randy Orton doing Randy things.
Right on that.
I don't know what anything with him, anything with Randy is a big deal. So I don't know if he essentially needs other big deals. He elevates everything to a Randy Orton level. He is the elevator. That's what he handles right now on his way towards the finish line inside of this. But here with Sammy, he's going to get a big pop over there. Plays to the Muslim crowd in all of that. They're going to love him. You talk about just a presentation of a major heel, get some heat. Drew stealing one on him would be huge over there.
Dude, he's got to get out of the country then quick smart because I don't know, man. I can see she going.
They better have a camel fired up in the back and get him through the sands to the airport to get him out of there if he goes over there. But could it be transition? Could Sammy win there, have that big moment, which would ask the question, who becomes a Rumble favorite? Kevin Owens come back is a big surprise to win the Rumble, set up Kevin and Sammy in that big spot that their fans, the ultra smarks that love Unreal, that can't get enough of the content, are going to be popping like crazy over. Could Sammy lose and then win the Rumble pause?
God, I hope not. That would be freaking horrible. And anything Owens too. Just awful. Just to be honest, like look at like the real landscape of wrestling, especially like old school. Like, okay, you always see those things like, oh, who should have been champion? Mr. Perfect, Rick Rude, WWF champion, DiBiase, even though technically was Honky Tonk. You see all these awesome names. You're like, wow, I can't believe this guy was never champion. All these great guys. Nowadays, it's like everybody gets to win the belt and whatever. We need to get back to that where not everybody needs to be champion. Zayn, Owens, those guys should never be world champion. They could challenge for the title. They should never be at that level. They're not world champion guys in WWE.
When you think about it, right? Yeah,
come on.
Crazy.
Like let's be serious here. And they're like teasing Zayn like this ultimate underdog. If the guy's your world champion, that is just not good. He's a good underdog guy that shouldn't win the title. Oh, get everybody excited, and then he loses. Like he did to Roman. Like there's no way in hell this guy should be the world champion. I mean, let's be serious here. No way.
I'm glad you said that.
It is one of those things, Jimmy. Like once Sammy wins it, is he done? I mean, because then you've killed the complete underdog.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you think about it, yeah. I mean, what's there for him to do once he loses that belt? Chase it some more? I mean, seriously. Like Poz said, man, and I'm glad someone like Poz actually said that because a lot of people don't understand. Like the reason why wrestling was so big back in the days because we had those larger than life stars and they were superheroes, man. And now you got dudes running around in shorts, overweight in shorts and call themselves professional wrestlers. I mean, no offense to Kevin Owens. He's a great worker, great hand.
Yeah.
And he's very sensitive too. I'm fat, Kevin. All right. Jesus Christ. I made a joke to him once. He blocked me on Twitter completely straight away. So he's soft. I'll give him that. He is soft. But seriously,
him and Zayn, like they're good workers, good hands, but it's like the world title, that's got to be something different. Like Cody, Drew, those guys, Orton, yes,
I agree.
Like guys like that, like come on, like you can't give everybody. And I even like Damian Priest. I know that's the world title is different, but I was like, man, I didn't see Priest even in that vein. That's like Rollins, Punk, those guys like in that vein, but not it's weird when they do stuff like that. It feels very forced, and it's like they're trying to use the title to get the guy over instead of the guy being over enough to be the champion.
And it's not doing it either, which is funny because look at him. That's why.
Yeah.
So you're right,
ultimately,
Oz. I agree with you,
ultimately
man.
hurts in the end. I'd like to remind everybody next Saturday, we're going to be back at it 2 p.m. Eastern for the live watch along. Then we'll have another Smack Attack special breakdown of the Rumble for you to run through that all. Jennifer, before we get out of here, Jimmy T, I'll go to you on this thing. The Royal Rumble hype has been a royal fumble. There hasn't been any of it. We've got a week now to crank this thing up with programming. Are you excited right now, man? I mean, it still is the Rumble. It still is one of those magical events. Are you excited for it? The location, the time? Where are we at on this? What do they need to do to really pop Jimmy T?
Well, first of all, the Rumble is my favorite event of the year usually. So that alone, I'm already looking forward to it. But the fact that it's in Saudi Arabia, or KSA, as Paz said, I don't know if we're going to get those. Are we going to get surprises, you think? Do you think Jericho is going to appear? Obviously. But the thing is, it doesn't have that same, even with surprises, that fan base. I know they're excited and they can get hot somewhat. It just doesn't, I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me. And that's the only thing. And wait till next year, guys, when Mania's over there. It's going to be a shit show.
It's going to be flat.
It's going to be flat. And it's going to really hurt the whole.
I think that's going to be interesting. This vibe for Rumble is going to really set the tone. Let us have a sneak peek what that energy is going to be like for WrestleMania.
I hope I'm wrong, but
I want my two surprise entrants. I want Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I wanted to chant USA over there. Ben Hameen is out of the country right now. I've seen some photos. I don't know where he's at, but it looks glamorous. He might be at a resort over there in the kingdom. Paz, your expectations. You hyped, man. What do you want to see at the Rumble?
Not really hyped at all. I feel like creatively they've been at a lull for quite a while. They haven't really pumped it up. You would figure this is when, all right, now we amp it up, and they didn't do that. So I guess, obviously Roman's going to be there. I just unpredictable. I really don't know who's going to win. That's the only kind of thing I'm looking forward to, is just the unpredictable factor of not knowing who's going to win. And I'm hoping a couple surprises. Jericho, he'd be nice. Maybe Powerhouse Hobbs, Royce Keys or whatever his name is. Like maybe him as a surprise. I just want a couple surprises.
We were joking on that watch log. If they were going to debut him on the main roster, it should have been the night so that we would have seen him before his final collision, right? When the on collision tonight,
right,
on the tape version.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's old school style. Yeah.
Who was the Muslim character got cut from, just like cut out from under him? That'd be a great surprise.
Even though he was Italian, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Him and Ben work together. He's upstate New York, right? If we can fly him in for that thing, that'd be a great surprise entrance.
Oh man, I love that character. Now that I think back on it, it was way ahead of its time, but it was just too soon, probably.
Well, it got up, you had terrorist attack over in Europe.
Right, it was too much. Weird. It was too much, but I did like the idea of it.
Weird ass timing. Gentlemen, I'm with you, man. I'm tapped, I'm kind of checked out on this year's Rumble. They've done nothing to get me excited. We don't really know who's in this thing. Even with the potential of the rumors I've heard about WrestleMania, none of those are doing anything for me. Like my interest is at an all-time low, but it is still the Rumble. It's still my favorite event. I agree with Jimmy T. My favorite event of the year. Probably going to spend quite a lot of time this week watching past Rumbles just to try to get myself amped up for this thing, because the surprises are going to be there. But as Paz said, this is going to be very telling of what WrestleMania is going to look like next year.
Yeah.
And business probably for the next year and a half. Are fans is this going to be that bubble bursting? They're going to hit their ceiling and their price gouging with this thing as they've turned their back on their traditional wrestling fan. That's the intrigue. That's the unreal draw of it right now. Jimmy T. Hold on. We'll look at pause. Hit your plugs here. I usually skip over our stuff because at this time of the night, I'm ready to get out of here, but we need to let everybody know where the 2-man power trip's at, all that cool stuff, all those great interviews, the business talk. When we can find out follow what's coming up with that Bret Hart book, man. Everybody know where to follow you on.
Yeah, pretty simple. Just follow me on Twitter and Instagram at 2-Man Power Trip, and you'll see all the latest and greatest from the 2-Man Power Trip show with Dr. Tom, the business show, Capital and Kayfabe, and even some updates on the Bret Hart book as well. So just follow me at 2-Man Power Trip.
Yeah. For me, for about the next 48 hours, you can find me outside with a shovel because we have got the Arctic Death here. Boss, you getting hit with this? You getting snow yet?
Not yet, but soon. A couple hours.
We got it here. It's already hit us here.
Damn it.
Oof.
Jimmy's
I've never
grilling
felt
out for Australia Day. It's summer down there. Jimmy, do your thing.
Well, on Monday, tomorrow, it's Australia Day, which is equivalent to your 4th of July. So, yeah, it's a day off for everybody here. But anyway, you can follow me on the PWC network and also at DJ Mass Effects. But, you know, Twitter's locked me out of my own account. Thank you, Twitter and Elon. But anyway, also look out for Like a Raw Tuesday morning, 11 a.m. with myself and Big Ray Hernandez talking all things Raw. And tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, it is Direct Gidge with myself, the Professor, and the Vet, where we talk all things AEW. So look out for that. And yeah, so I think that's a wrap. In saying that,
how old is Australia?
Not that old. It's a lot younger than the US, actually, by the way.
When did you guys transition from criminal compound to country?
Well, being of a Greek background, I had nothing to do with that, actually. My family came by plane, not by not by any ships or anything like that. But we're just over 100 years old, believe it or not.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, probably almost 120 years old, somewhere along those lines. So we're pretty young.
Pause. Did you know that the Greeks invented sex?
Yeah, from behind, right?
Yeah. The Greeks invented sex, and then years later, the Romans introduced it to women.
You know what's funny? You know where the first lesbians came from? Believe it or not? From the island of Lesbos, apparently. I'm not kidding. Under? No, in Greece. I'm talking about. It's called Lesbos. Look into it. It's a fun fact.
I'm actually going to go Google that immediately.
Don't tell Rick that. Oh, boy.
But in saying that, I am Jimmy T. He is R to the B to V. And he is John Paz from the Two-Man Power Trip. And you've been listening and watching the Smack Attack live right here on Hameen Media Group's YouTube channel. And of course, check out our Patreon at hameenmediagroup.patreon.com. Till next time, peace out and see yous.
They're going to have the next Evolution pay-per-view in Lesbos.
They should, actually. Anyway, see yous later.